Hey, welcome in everybody. Dave Salentano here with Guitar Tricks. Wednesday night, we're going to wrap up Spanish guitar in week 4 of 4. We're going to be working on some lead guitar concepts that, although they're going to be on this classical guitar, sort of a Spanish style, they're going to work out really cool to do on your electric guitar too, if you're into playing lead guitar. Hello, JV and Russ. There you go. Let me just kind of warm up with a few things. Ah. All right, cool. Just a little warm up there. Haven't really played much on this guitar today, just getting it loosened up there. Hello, Steve. Yep, good. All right. And Zane, cool. Russ, JV, cool. Yo. All right, so everybody, open up the curriculum. That's, if you expand the text box under the YouTube video, you're going to see the tabs there. You can print those out. We're going to be working on a few lead guitar concepts that I know most of everybody watching tonight and the last 4 weeks, the last 3 weeks, most of them are probably electric guitar players because that's normally what I show in these YouTube videos. But I decided to break it up a little bit. And this actually studying the Spanish guitar styles really helped my lead guitar chops on my electric guitar a lot, that I can apply this to some of the rock stuff and some of the metal stuff. Because the scale we're using in this Spanish style, we talked about it last week. I'll do a little review of that right now for everybody. We got this Phrygian dominant scale. It's a mode of the harmonic minor scale. And speaking of modes, starting next week, I'm going to begin a long series on Wednesday nights on the modes. I'm going to do one mode every 2 weeks, and there's 7 modes, so it's going to take about 14 weeks to go through. And I'll be showing everyone a lot of concepts with the modes, what to listen for, what makes the difference between each mode, and kind of the basis of that. But we'll do that starting next week. So tonight, though, we're going to finish this up. Hey, King 50 from Nevada. What's happening? Okay, let's get going. Okay, quick little review of the scale we did in example 1 last week, because we're going to be using that scale today and some stuff. Everything we're doing is in A harmonic minor or the E Phrygian dominant scale. And the E Phrygian dominant is a mode of the A harmonic minor scale. So it starts like this. On the 6th string, we got 3 notes on almost every string. In fact, every string does have 3 notes. Except for the G string, it works out to just have 2 notes. I'm trying to keep the scale pattern simple initially, but today we're going to kind of expand upon that and break a few of the finger placements that I have for the scale we did last week. Okay, so review last week, and you kind of want to learn this stuff in order, folks. You might want to look back on last week's scale just to refresh your memory. It starts on the 6th string, goes 0, 1, 4. And those numbers I call out are the frets. And then we're going to use 1 finger per fret also, except for that big stretch on that 6th string. We go 0, open 6th string, 1st fret, 4th fret. Then on the 5th string, we go open 2, 3. 4th string, same thing. 3rd string, we're going to play the 1st to 2nd fret. There's no open string on the 3rd, and we're only playing 2 notes. Okay, and then the 2nd string goes 0, 1, 3, and then the top string goes 0, 1, 4. And it sounds really cool. It's exotic. It sounds Spanish, of course. It also sounds kind of classical, kind of Middle Eastern a little bit. And as I'm doing the class, if I see comments pop up, I'll try to grab them as I see them. Russ says, did Hotel California that you did with Gal ever appear elsewhere? What was the session? That was the session when there were some audio issues. Oh, yeah. Hey, Russ, actually, what I did on the short, because we had 2 times in that session, I had audio difficulties where the audio just cut out. So not sure what that's about. When I do these classes on Zoom, or when I do my own one-on-one lessons on Zoom, I never have an issue on Zoom. So I'm suspecting, because I'm using the same computer and mic, that it's a YouTube issue. But I'm not a computer technician, so I don't know all that jargon. All I know is if it works or it doesn't work. And we want something that works. So, Russ, great question. What I did is I actually, there's 3 videos from that night. The first one is about 4 minutes long or so when I finally got the sound going. And then it just cut out again. So what I did is on that initial video that's in Guitar Tricks YouTube channel with the title of that class, I put a comment underneath that from me with the 2 links to the other 2 YouTube videos for that same night. So that way you can get to them right away. In fact, let me just do a quick check here. Let me see if this, I don't know if I can do this, Russ, but let me just poke around here. Just give me 2 secs. Okay, let me just see what we got cooking here. All right. Yeah. You know what, Russ? I'm not sure what happened. I thought I put the links in there, but now I'm not finding them. So I'm a little confused, a little perplexed about that. Yeah. It's week 1 of 4 that we did. Yeah. Oh, here we go. All right. So, all right, I got it. I think our IT guy at Guitar Tricks, Russ, he added these in as separate because it's week 1 of 4 is where I had my buddy Gal come in. And then there's the first link I just put there is the short one where audio went out. And then the second one is the longer one, but then our audio cut out again. Oh, brother. Put that here for you. There's another link, Russ. And then here's the third one. So where did it go? 2 of 3, 3 of 3. Here we go. Yeah, sorry to chew up the time, folks. I'll keep it rolling here. You know what that actually looks like? That last link I did, I'll delete it because it looks like it's the first one that I put. So the 2 that I put there are the big chunks that you definitely have most of the playing in them. I think that first one, we just definitely had some audio issues with that. Because that first one looks like it's only 4.5 minutes, and it looks like there's no sound anyway. So I'm not going to, let's just do that. All right, sorry to chew that up. But Russ, there you go. Yep. So the first video, actually, you didn't miss anything because there was no sound. And then once the comments came in saying, hey, we're not hearing you guys, then I had to reboot and whatnot. But anyway, thanks to Mitch at the Guitar Tricks IT for fixing that up for us. All right, Russ, there you go. Yeah, so, okay, back to the ranch here on this A harmonic minor Phrygian dominant against the E chord. That was the scale I just played. Okay, now let's take a look at week 4 for today. Okay, week 4 of 4 for Spanish guitar. I've got several examples there. The last example, example 3, we're going to revisit that scale, but I'm going to reorganize a few of the notes onto other strings so that we can have 3 notes on every string. And that's where a lot of the fast stuff comes from, putting 3 notes per string. Okay, that's the magic when you get 3 notes per string. Every time you're playing quick and you go to a 2-note per string or a string with 2 notes on it, it kind of messes up the picking. It's hard to get fast when you've got 2 notes on one string. As long as you have 3 picks or 6 picks, it goes yeah, a little messy. Okay, that's the secret. It's 3 per string, and we'll be talking about that also with the modes as well. So check out example 1 right here. This is also in that E Phrygian dominant, but we're putting the notes up on just the first string for the most part, and then wrapping up on a few notes on the second string, okay? So this is a neat picking exercise that sounds very Spanish, and it also works in a lot of rock stuff too, where you're gonna pick one of the notes or several of the notes really quick, little speed bursts like this. So we're gonna try fret 4, 5, 7, and an 8. 4, I'm playing with the index finger, 5 with the middle, 7 with the pinky, and shift up to 8 with the pinky. And what I'm going to do is do a quick down, up, down on each note. All right? And we're going to repeat that a few times. If you listen to give some groups and artists to listen to for this type of playing, the Gypsy Kings. It's another really great band. They've got some great guitar player. I think they have 2 really good players in that band, guitarists that really shred. And then I picked this lick up. Actually, Gal showed it to me, but it's from one of the Gypsy King songs. And they picked this melody, something like that. And then I end it a little differently than they do. And then they also do it in a different key. But the idea is to play it like, let me try it again. And it comes in on the and of 1. So it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. I'll do this with the metronome in a minute, but try playing it twice through, and it fits over the E chord nicely. See how that kind of works? It's a great picking exercise. A lot of these licks we're doing and concepts I'm showing everybody, they're great exercises too. And they sound like music rather than just doing spider walk, which is okay if you're a beginner. But once we get past that, it's nice to have exercises that sound a little more musical, all right? So that's what our goal is here. Everything we're doing in the Spanish series is musical sounding. You can use them immediately. So let's try that again. Now, what I would recommend is to start your metronome. It's all in 4/4 time, and just start at a super slow tempo, maybe like 70. Okay. So here's this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. See how that works? One more time. Okay, so let's talk about it for a sec before I start speeding it up. Okay, so we're going to pick down, up, down on 4, fret 5, fret 7, and 8. And we're going to do that little sequence 3 times. Like that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that ends the top line of the tablature there. Now, if you go to the second line on the page, that first note is actually the last 8 we just did. We went down, up on the previous line, and then down again on the 8 there. So every note's 3 times with a down, up, down. Okay. And then we're going to play 7th fret, same thing, down, up, down real quick. And then we walk down the scale backwards from fret 5 with your first finger, then fret 4 with the first finger. And then on the second string, we're going to play 2 notes, fret 6 and 5, 6 with the ring, and then 5 with the middle. The middle finger ends on the E note. Maybe a little vibrato. Just wiggle it. Classical players tend to do their vibrato left and right. Okay, and you can kind of hear it. And then the rock blues players tend to go up and down. You can do it either way on the classical guitar. Okay, so that ending part goes. And the fingers are written on the left side of the little notes up in the music staff. So even if you don't know how to read music, you don't have to. You look at the tablature for the frets, and then the picking is the down, up, down symbols there. The down's the open staple looking symbol. It looks like a square without a bottom line on it. And then the V is the upstroke symbol. Okay. So the way I remember it, because I had that backwards when I was younger playing guitar. When I first saw these symbols, I thought the V, it was like an arrow pointing down. So that was the downstroke. But it's actually where the mouth of the pattern is where the direction goes. So see how the square without the bottom line, the open mouth is on the bottom. And then the V, the open part, is on the top. Okay. So it's a down and then an up. Okay. So the left side of the little black dots, I have little numbers. And if you look carefully, I know it's real tiny. Those are the fingers I suggest to use on your left hand. Index is 1, middle's 2, rings 3, pinky's 4. One of the comments last week was asking for fingers. And usually I put them in there if it's not obvious. And sometimes I forget. But that's what the video's for. Okay. Think back in the day, some of the older guitar players that might be watching, remember we used to have vinyl records, and to learn stuff, we had to slow it down with our fingers so we might be able to hear it a little bit slower to hear how the lick went, and the fast notes would be a little slower so they'd be easier to figure out. And then we'd have to pick the needle up and move it back to the earlier in the song, and then keep putting it back and forth. Nowadays, everyone's got it all spoon-fed to them on YouTube, and everything's available. But back in the day, we had to, if anyone wanted to learn guitar, they had to do a lot of studying and a lot of homework, and things weren't just dished out easily. So I encourage everybody to, if you don't see the fingering, well, watch the video again and try to catch what it is. I mean, it's kind of what we all have to do anyway. Most of the really good players spend time watching and listening over and over again before they lock it down fully. Okay. Okay. So we got that first note is your G sharp note. That's that cool harmonic minor note that makes the scale sound really exotic. That G sharp. And if you were to play the scale without the G sharp, just play it as G, that's just a regular Phrygian mode or Phrygian scale. It still sounds Spanish. In fact, we use part of that in Malagueña. Except right there, now we introduced the G sharp, but earlier we played the G. So Malagueña is neat in the fact that it combines the just regular Phrygian, which has the G, and then sometimes they play the G sharp, which makes it Phrygian dominant. Sounds a little more Spanish that way. Okay, So that's what we're doing here. We're starting on the G sharp. So right away, you hear that. And that also gives it the sound of that E chord because it's the third degree of the E. Okay? And we just walk up the scale. And at the end, I want to resolve it, which would be taking it back to the E because we're trying to keep it the tonal center on the E. Like that. Okay, now let's try this for a sec. At 70 beats a minute, that's what we played a minute ago. Just jump up to, I would suggest everybody when you're working on the metronome, and you should be practicing with it, to just go up in 5 or 10 beat increments. But just to save time, I'm going to do 20 beat increments. So I'm going from 70 to now I'm going to try example 1 at 90. Comes in on the and a 1. Like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, now let's try 110. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right. Try it again. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, let's jump up to 130. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, let's try one more time. 150. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so it has a lot of potential. Take your time with it though and work it up slowly. Now, the next example is on one string. So this is going to be a great exercise to do on maybe not just the high E, but on the B and possibly the G as well. Okay, it's going to be in a different key, but it'll still sound good and it makes a great exercise. Having said that, check this out. If you do exercise or example 1 on the second string, it's in a different key. The only thing you'd have to adjust, it's exactly the same frets and the same picking, same fingers, except when you go what would have been at the end, we got to change. Those last two notes are not fret 6 and 5, but they're frets 5 and 4 on the third string. So the third string would go, I'm sorry, the second to third string would go. Okay, same idea, and it's in a different key. That would actually goes with the B major chord. See, listen to this at 150. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. One more time. 3, 4, 1. Okay, there's it at 150. Okay. Yeah, so that's something to think about. Just move it up a string. Now it'll be a little bit easier on example two because we don't have to change any of the notes to accommodate that odd tuning between the third and second string. Okay. Ooh, some other folks piping in here. Oh, Second Chance Band. That's Marianne. Hey, joining in late, but glad to stop by. Hey, Marianne. So we're just doing the last week of Spanish guitar, and so jump in if you want to check out the curriculum. A lot of these ideas today we're doing focusing on licks and phrases and a little picking technique on it. So these will actually really, for all the electric guitar players out there, this stuff is awesome to do on electric. And I always do this on my electric as well. It sounds really cool. You know, Yngwie Malmsteen does a lot of this harmonic minor Phrygian dominant sound. You hear it in his playing. A lot of classical music does this same thing. A lot of Bach's music. Johann Sebastian Bach plays this. Mozart does too. The harmonic minor Phrygian dominant. It's a very neat sound and scale. And it gets away from your very typical poppy major scale sounding riffs that a lot of the pop songs do. All right. The harmonic minor kind of gives you a nice little dark, slightly dark, right? Slant to everything. Okay. So let's jump down to example two, everyone. We only have 3 examples, but I can definitely, this is something else I like to do, everyone. Whenever I have a new exercise or maybe pick up something from another player, I always try to take it, not just what I learned, that little bit of information, but I try to see how can I expand on that? How can I incorporate that in my playing? How can I do it on other strings, do it in different keys, do it in the different positions? I try to expand it because there's a lot you can do with just one simple little idea. All right. When we get back into soloing with blues, a lot of times I'll have my students play. You know, they think you got to play all over the fretboard and know all your scale patterns, which you kind of do need to know all the scale patterns. And it'd be nice to play all over the fretboard. But you listen to like B.B. King or Albert King, for instance, those guys can play in just one little 5-note box shape the whole solo. And what I think is interesting is some of my students, when I tell them, okay, now solo over the backing track using just the Albert King box or just the B.B. King blues box, and they get kind of stuck because they figure it's limiting to just play those 5 notes, but it's not limiting. It's just in our mind, it's limiting. We need to get creative with the notes and how many different ways can you play them. And a good way of doing that is listen to those players, learn some of BB's and Albert King's licks. And you'll find they get a lot of mileage out of just simple little scale patterns. That's what I'm trying to do here, everyone, is when you learn a new exercise, granted, this stuff's a little more complicated than that, the blues stuff, but try to expand it and take it to another level in terms of what you can do with it. So, oh, cool, Brust, appreciate it. And Theme, all right, cool. Good to see you here. Okay, example 2, it's all on one string, and it uses only the index and pinky fingers. So this is a good pinky workout for everybody out there, because if you're like me, the pinky's the shortest finger, and it's also the skinniest. And for a lot of players, it's the weakest finger. So rather than ignoring it and not using it because it's the smallest, the runt of the 4, we need to use it. And this exercise will help build your pinky strength. Okay. So it's actually, if you look carefully at example 2, which starts halfway through the second line, the first 6 notes have pick directions. And then the next 6 notes don't, because it's the exact same thing. These first 6 notes are played twice. So you play them da 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 da. Then we do the same with the next chord and the next chord. So the first 6 notes of each bar gets played twice. Okay, but there is one bar in example 2 where those 6 notes don't get played twice. They actually move. Aside from the A minor bar, 4 bars in, that plays the 6 notes, but just ends on 1. Okay. There's one bar where the first 6 notes are different than the next 6 notes. Okay. So check this out. Slowly, it's this. Try it again. Okay, so we'll do that with a metronome in a few minutes. But the pattern is this, people. It's A, open, 5, pinky, then open, and then 5th fret. And then the next 3 notes are 8, 5, 0, pinky, index, open. So it's 8, 0, 5, 8, 5, 0. And look at my right hand. The picking on this is alternate all the way. Down, and then up, down, up. And we do that twice. Then notice I've got a chord written over each bar. The notes we're playing, most of them are in that chord. In some of the bars, all the notes are in the chord. It's an arpeggio. It's just broken up. It's not played in where you do like root 3rd, 5th, root 3rd, 5th. You know, like a little E minor arpeggio. Okay, and then maybe you ended on a different scale note. Okay, instead of playing the arpeggios just straight up, root 3rd, 5th, root 3rd, 5th, what we're doing is we're mixing them up on the A minor. Here we're going the C note on the 8th fret, that's your 3rd degree, flat 3rd. Then we're going to the E, that's the 5th. And then we're coming back to the A, that's the root. So all these notes are in the A minor chord. So even though we don't have to play them in order, we can mix them up. It's still an A minor arpeggio. Okay, and then your E major chord, the next bar, this fits E. It's the exact same sequence, but now the frets are 7, 0, 4, and then 7, 4, 0. Same picking, down, up, up. And we do it twice. Okay, those notes are B, that's the 5th of the E chord. Open, E is the root. The 4th fret is your G sharp, that's the major 3rd. Okay? And then the E7 chord, it's an E major, but it adds the 7th note up in the E Phrygian dominant scale. It's the 7th note up from E. So if you count up 7 notes, E is 1, F is 2, G sharp's 3, 4 is A, 5 is B, 6 is C, number 7 is the open 4th string. What's the name of your 4th string? It's D. So we're going to add a D note to the E chord. And the way I like doing it is putting it on the 2nd string, 3rd fret with the pinky. Okay, like that. So that way you get the E7 sound. Up here, the 3rd bar in example 2 starts on the 10th fret and goes 10, 0, 7, 10, 7, 0. That 10 is your D. That's the 7th of the E7. Open E string is E, that's the root. And then the 7th fret on the E string is a B note, that's your 5th. So we don't have to play all the notes in the chord. In fact, on the E7 lick, I'm not playing the 3rd. I'm playing the 7th, root, and the 5th. It still sounds like E7 though. And then the final, the 4th bar, is back to A minor, the 8, 0, 5, 8, 5, 0. And then we're going to take a little breather, pause on that 5th fret 1st string. Notice how it's all by itself right there. Okay. And we're going to hang on it. Maybe throw a little vibrato in. We're going to pause for 2 beats. Okay. So good way to practice this, everyone, is don't try to just keep going and play in the next part. Stay with the first 4 bars for a little bit. Make sure you got that comfy. And in fact, if you don't even have the first bar down, then don't try to play the whole thing or the first 4 bars. Just try to play the first bar. All right. Make sure you're locked in before you start learning more stuff. That's a really big thing I notice with some students is they try to learn too much too soon. and they don't even have any of it locked down. So it's better. I mean, you can skim through it in one shot and just see what's coming up. So, you know, oh, this part will be pretty easy. Maybe this next part I'll need to work on. It's a little harder. You kind of see where you're headed, but you don't want to keep playing it through like that. Because what happens is you got parts that sound good, parts that don't, parts that slow down, parts that have mistakes. We need to eliminate all that and just make sure every part is bolted down and solid. Make sure you can do that. So the first part, E, E7, A minor. Maybe try it slower. A minor, E, E7, oopsie, A minor. Okay. And you really got to alternate pick. That's why this exercise is not just good for the pinky, it's good for your right hand. Because you got to be able to do the back and forth without getting off beat. And maybe just be able to do this and sit there and have a conversation while you keep your picking going. That makes sure you really got the down, up, where you're not even thinking about it. It's kind of like walking, right? We don't think about putting the left foot, the right foot, right? We just do it. But initially, when we're young, we had to crawl around first, then we get up and we gingerly walk around, maybe holding the cabinets. That's kind of like guitar playing. When you first learn something, you really need to do it slowly and accurately first. Okay. The last thing we want to do is you to practice it the wrong way, because you try to learn it too quick and you're playing wrong notes, or you're trying to play it too fast and it's just a big mess of slop. See, that's just not right. We want to be articulate. When I do licks, if I feel like I'm fumbling, I just practice it over and over again until I lock it down and you relax. That's a little solo I wrote for one of the Spanish tunes that I'm working on from Otmar Liebert. But that's not one of his solos. It's one I wrote over a chord progression of his. But I tried to play that earlier tonight, folks, at the top of the lesson, and I wasn't really warmed up yet. And this is why it's good to warm up slowly. It sounded kind of messy. So if you listen earlier in this video, if you watch it later on, you'll hear me play that same thing, but it's a little messy. Right now, I've had a half hour of playing and talking and getting warmed up. Now I feel like I'm locked in a lot better with things like that. So you really got to warm up, take your time, do things slow. Okay. So the next half of example 2 goes like this, folks. It starts on the D minor chord, 13th fret. Okay. Some of my students say that open E string doesn't sound right. Well, you're right. The open E, there's not an E in a D minor chord. But just for the sake of playing this exercise, that chord, the D minor chord, is the only one where one of the notes is not in the chord. Okay, so just go by it and you play quick enough. Plus the E note's in the scale, so it doesn't sound bad. And if you did add if you added an E note to a D minor chord, it kind of makes it like an E minor or D minor 9. It sounds very jazzy, all right? Because the E is the 9th or the 2, okay? Or you could think of it as a D sus2, okay? It's kind of a nice sounding chord, so it's not terrible note at all. And we're doing the same picking, the same idea, 13, 0, 10, 13, 10, 0, twice. And then the A minor in the next bar is a different set of notes for A minor. Here we're doing 12, 0, 8, 12, 8, 0. Okay, So we got D minor, A minor, and then the next bar, E7. This one does 6 notes, 10-0-7, 10-7-0. And then we jump back and play 7-0-4, just a regular E major, what we did in the E major chord above. Okay, so we go that E7 bar near the end of the example, the second bar from the end of the example right here. This is the bar where you've got 6 notes, and then the next 6 notes are back 3 frets. Okay, so you got, and then the last chord is A minor. We kind of play the same thing we did in the 4th bar of the example. Okay, so the D minor part goes A minor, E7, A minor. Okay, so all together, folks, with the metronome. Okay, got to start out slow. Let's try like 80 real quick. I'll get this going here. So it's triplets, 3 notes per beat. 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to go up to 100. That was 80. Okay, and then notice too, there's chords written over each bar. It'd be neat to, I'm going to play those for you in a minute. It'd be cool when you get this example down to record yourself playing the chords, strumming the chords, and then play the lick over it. It'll sound good. Okay, so here's 100, example 2. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to 120 for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 140. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try 160 and then we'll go back. I'll play the rhythm for you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So once you get it down, it's kind of a nice little piece to rip on. Now the chords are A minor to E, then E7. Just add your pinky to that 3rd fret, 2nd string, back to A minor, and every chord gets 4 beats. Then we go D minor, A minor, E7, and then end it on A minor. Maybe you can go like 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you can do is it's just that standard strum pattern that we do in a lot of folk and rock songs on acoustic, maybe even sometimes on electric. But the pattern, thanks, Second Chance Band. Marianne, appreciate it. The strum I was just doing there, folks, is down, down, up, up, down, up. It's not a Spanish strum, but it's a good folk, acoustic, rock, strum, pop strum to do. A lot of guitar players play this strum. It's down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. get a nice strum that sounds a little more Spanish, see what I do is on beat 1, I just play the bass note. And then on beat 2, I do a slower strum, so it sounds like I'm raking the strings. So I'm going like this. So the front part of that strum is not down, down, up on all the strings, but it's down on the 5th string, then a down that rakes across. So you get that sound, okay? And then the rest of it is quicker, up, then up, down, up, like. Okay, kind of neat, little something. It's not on the page, but it's something to chew on. Okay, one more thing with this, and then we'll wrap up with the third example. Try playing example 2 on the 2nd string. It's the exact same frets, same finger, same picking. So you don't really have to change anything except just move everything up a string, because it feels different when we're playing on the thicker strings, right? We're not on the edge of the neck getting ready to fall off and the skinniest string. We're starting to have a little more meat on the strings. They're a little thicker, obviously, right? And we have the more fretboard underneath the fingers, okay? So this one sounds like this. Okay, just like that. One more time. 4. Okay, that would be against an E minor to a B major. And an A minor, A minor to E minor, B7. There you go. Try it on the 3rd string. Okay, good stuff. I appreciate it, Leslie. Yep, looks and sounds like a real cool exercise. Love it. Appreciate it. Jordan Sullivan saying, what would I search to use the tapping technique? Jordan, tapping, are you a member of Guitar Tricks? If you are, if you're not, you should check them out. They're a great, fantastic guitar lesson site. And they've got a ton of songs, ton of lessons. And if you're not a member, I would suggest signing up. I know they've got some great deals going on. They got money back guarantee for a few days, so you can check out the site, and I'm sure you'll be happy with it. And if you are a member, Jordan, actually specify whether you are or not, because I did a whole bunch of tapping lessons, 2-hand tapping on the Guitar Tricks site. And we broke it into 2. There was so many, we had to break it up into 2 kind of courses. It's tapping, 2-hand tapping 1 and 2-hand tapping 2. So if you're a Guitar Tricks member, you can literally search those, or I can put the link in the chat window for you if you are. You are not a member. All right. So it wouldn't do any good for me to put those. They're totally unrelated to what we're doing here tonight. But yeah, and of course, Jordan, you might have seen some of my YouTube videos where I'm playing. I do a lot of 2-hand tapping as well. And on my songs, I usually incorporate some 2-hand tapping in there. But just check it out. If you just check out my YouTube channel, you can see videos. I don't teach anything. If you want to learn the stuff or get tabs, you got to take a lesson with me. And then on my website, davesalentano.com, you can book a lesson with me there. Or once you become a Guitar Tricks member, you can book a lesson with me through Guitar Tricks just as well. And I'd be glad to help you, Jordan, with some two-hand tapping stuff. So in fact, if you book a lesson with me, a one-on-one, I use Zoom on the internet. I've got a ton of curriculum, got a ton of students, and everybody's getting used to how lessons work on the internet ever since COVID hit. So I've had to bounce all my students that way, and it's just really taken off for me. So I'm going to be just teaching online from now on. So check that out, Jordan. Reach out to me. You can always email me also from my website. You can contact me that way. All right, folks, let's get number 3 down. So we've really been camping out on just one string, right, this whole time. So example 3 deals with crossing the strings. All right, so we're going to use the scale pattern we did last week, the harmonic minor, Phrygian dominant, okay? But we're not going to play it exactly the same way. If you look at number 3 at the bottom of page 1, there's 2 pages in my curriculum for today. Page 1, bottom line, is the first half of example 3. On page 2, the top line is the second half of example 3. Okay, let me get my metronome ready because I'm going to demonstrate some of that with you in time. Hang on. Okay, boo. Okay, so check out example 3. What we're doing is going open, second, and third fret on the 5th string, and then we do the same on the 4th string. It's a 6-note pattern that we're going to play. 3 notes on one string, 3 on the very next string, and then we're going to play for the next beat. You notice how this example is grouped in 6s at a time. So the first 6 notes are 3 notes on the 5th string, 3 notes on the 4th string. Then the next 6 notes plays those same 3 notes on the 4th string again. Oops. The 0, 2, 3. Then we're going to go on the 3rd string, play frets 1, 2, 4. Okay, that's the second 6 notes. And then the third 6 notes plays the same 1, 2, 4 again. Then on the 2nd string, we do a big stretch, people. It goes 1, 3, 5. Okay, some of you might not be able to reach that, but maybe some of you can. Cool. Okay, and then the last 6 notes in that first bar plays the 1, 3, 5 again. Then we play 1, 4, 5 on the top string. Okay, a little bit of a stretch. And then we're going to move up. I'm just remembering where I'm at, folks. Give me a sec here. Okay, then for the final bar, we're going to shift up to the 7th fret with your pinky, and we're going to go 7, 5, 4 twice. I have a few different ways I end it. Sometimes I go 7, 5, 4 twice, then play the root note, the A minor. And you see the next chord, or the next part, is an A minor chord and to an E major chord. Okay, so the first part of that run starts with the A note, and in this case, we're thinking of it as the A harmonic minor scale. Ups. Sometimes I end it like 7, 5, 4 twice. Sometimes I go, then back to 5, 7, shift to 8, and then end it. Like that. Okay. So the idea is to have 3 notes per string. That's where the speed comes from. A lot of the fast players, Al Di Meola, John McLaughlin, even Paco de Lucia, he finger picks stuff, but a lot of times he does the 3 notes per string. And I see another comment here, a couple. Leslie saying, yeah, you can learn a lot just by watching Dave. Oh, appreciate it, Leslie. Yeah, cool. And then King 50 saying, for those big stretches, can you release your index finger? Yep, you can definitely do that, King 50, for sure. I'm actually going to play this example 5 frets higher in D minor in a few minutes. I don't have it written in tablature, but it's taken everything we did and just moving it up 5 frets. So if you just do the calculation, you add 5 to every number in the tablature that's on your sheet, and then that's going to be the new fret position to play it up higher, which will be a little bit easier. You won't have to stretch as far, okay? But let's try this. The first half goes. Now we flip the page, right? Go to the second page, top of it. There's just a little bit there. We're going to go down the same scale, but we're going to start with an E note and then ending on E major. It's going to sound more like the Phrygian dominant, even though it's the exact same scale. Okay, we're going to go 0, 1, 4 are your frets, and then back to 1, 0. Then on the third string, we're going to go the second string, we're going to go 3rd fret. Then we're going to play 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. Okay. Then the third string, we're going to start with the second finger on that 2nd fret. Then we're going to go 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. Okay. Then over to the 4th string, 3rd fret with your 3rd finger. Then it goes open 2, 3, 2, 0. Oops. Okay. So it's kind of like a pattern, a 6-note pattern that takes 2 strings. It goes, plays 5 notes on the top string, 3 different notes, but so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Note number 6, because notice everything's grouped in 6s. We're going to try to play 6 notes per beat. Okay. So we're going to go. And then on the 2nd string, we're going to do the same idea. We're going to play 0, 1, 3, 1, 0, then end on the first note or a note on the 3rd string. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, ending on the 4th string, 3rd fret. And then the 4th string goes open 2, 3, 2, 0. 3 on the 5th string. Then we're going to play open 2, 3, 2, 0. 1 on the 6th. Then open 6. So it goes. Then we play E, A minor. And then notice there's a repeat sign at the end. So we're going to go back right there, repeat. We're going to go back to the beginning of page 1 at the bottom and play this again. Then this. Okay. Second Chance Band saying whether or not, if you play Spanish guitar, these are great exercises to increase your individual finger dexterity. They're absolutely right. Second Chance Band, for sure. Yep. I do these a lot on my electric too. It's, you can do it on any, even my Martin, I'll do it on that sometimes. But let's check this out. A good way to practice this, though, if you're just starting out, even though it's going to be a lot quicker, 6 notes per beat, try to do 3 per beat as triplets, all right? So as triplets, we'll hear it like this. At 70, we're going to go like this. So that would be a good way to start it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is slow it down a little more. I'm going to go to 60, or actually, how about I go to 50? I'll do 50, but I'm going to play 6 notes per beat. 2, da 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 da. Da, 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again. that's 50. Let me jump it up to 670. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Now, if you move it up, I know we're going to wrap it up in 1 sec, folks. If we move it up 5 frets and play it in against D minor and A major or A7, you got this. All I do is add 5, the number 5, plus whatever the fret is in the tablature. And even though this isn't written out, folks, this will be good for you to figure this out. This is how you're going to get better on the guitar, is trying to learn stuff. Take what you're learning and maybe try it in a different key. All right. This is super important as a growing guitar player. Now we don't have any open strings, so everything's going to require a finger. You can even try it up 7 frets from what we did in the key of E minor. One more time. One more. There we go. All right. One more. All right, people. So a lot of neat stuff there. I know I kind of moved quick. You can always watch the videos again. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the comments. I'm going to start wrapping it up here. You're welcome, JV. Russ, you're very welcome. Second Chance Band, cool. Appreciate it for stopping by, Marianne. Steve in New Hampshire, very welcome. Leslie, let's see. It's a good idea to save these lessons so you can refer back to them and watch over and over until you get it. Yeah, they're on YouTube and Guitar Tricks YouTube channel, so you can find a lot more that I've done. Plus, we got some of the other instructors on Guitar Tricks also have stuff on Guitar Tricks YouTube channel. So a lot of great stuff up there. Definitely watch them over and over again. Yep. And then let's see. It says that's what I do. I save them undetected Guitar Tricks, then watch them again. All right. King 50. I wasn't sure I would like these 4 lessons, and I didn't. I love them. Hey, King 50. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. This stuff is really going to help your electric guitar playing and your soloing too. I mean, granted, we're not doing any bends and crazy rock guitar stuff, but a lot of this technique, the getting your pinky in there, getting your right hand coordinated with it. Absolutely. Peter, you're very welcome. Yep. Cool, cool. Glad you liked it. Leslie saying, watch. Thanks for the awesome lesson today. Appreciate it. Zane, yep. All right, cool, cool. All right, well, everyone have a great week. Starting next week, we're going to start a long series of the modes. There's 7 modes, right? And I'm going to do 2 weeks on each mode. So it's going to be several weeks worth of stuff. And the modes you're going to use for soloing. So this is very applicable to playing solos, lead guitar. And the modes can be used in any style of music. It can be rock, jazz, metal, blues. I'll go over all that stuff. Country, for sure. All right. So everyone have a great night. Good seeing everybody, chatting with everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you next Wednesday night. Okay, bye. Keep them fingers flying. See ya.